So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in welcoming our chief guest for this session, Shri Bhupender Yadav, Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and Labour and Employment, Government of India. To begin this session, may I invite Mr. Sanjeev Puri, Vice President, CII, to give his remarks and take the session forward, please.
Honorable Minister, Shri Bhupender Yadav ji, Minister for Environment, Forest, Climate Change, Labour and Employment. Honorable Minister, under your visionary and dynamic leadership, India has taken multi-dimensional initiatives to usher in sustainable and clean growth. And no doubt, India is cementing its position as a global leader in climate action. The consequences of the climate emergency are there for us, before us, manifested in terms of multiple extreme weather events, impact on food security, quality of life, impact on business and supply chains. There is no doubt a need for urgent and collective action towards a more inclusive and sustainable future. I'm happy to share with you, Honorable Minister, that Indian industry recognizes this challenge and is taking numerous initiatives to bring in a sustainable growth pathway. And this is also reflected in the Climate Change Performance Index performance as far as India is concerned, which has jumped 2 places, and India is number 8 on the global list now. It is indeed very encouraging and inspirational to watch the manner in which India is progressing towards its NDCs. It has updated it, and the manner in which policies are being put in place to enable the country to meet its commitments, and these commitments are indeed extremely ambitious. We are also encouraged that in COP27, for the first time, a loss on damage fund has been agreed upon, and we hope it gets operationalized by COP28. India's journey on this path of sustainable and inclusive growth has received tremendous impetus, Honorable Minister, from your leadership, and many aspects are being pursued on mission mode, be it in areas of clean energy, clean water, sustainable agriculture, as well as other areas. And India has a unique initiative in place called LIFE. I mean, it's extremely logical that a sustainable future can only happen with sustainable consumption, a sustainable lifestyle. And it is extremely encouraging to note that India is the only country that has made such strong initiative in this regard. Even the union budget has embedded green growth as a very strong pillar in the whole dimensional of policy reform. Given the progress that India is making, I have a couple of suggestions, Honorable Minister. One is that, as I said earlier, Indian businesses are making tremendous initiatives, tremendous progress in adopting green business practices, investing in renewable technologies, and so on and so forth. There's certainly a need to widen the scope to take it and get a larger section of the small and medium enterprises and micro enterprises to participate in this whole journey. We in CII, at the CII ITC Center of Excellence of Sustainable Development, are trying to foster this by creation of a toolkit, which is now being rolled out in 7 clusters. We also have a CII Climate Action Charter, which is targeted more at small and medium enterprises, and we have today 250 members that have signed on to it. The second area I wish to mention is that of access to the right kind of technologies. While investments have to continue and are happening in areas where technology is today available, whether it's resource efficiency, renewable energy, whether it's for better utilization of water and so on and so forth. But there are pathways to be discovered in certain difficult areas for which access to technology is required. And whilst R&D is happening within the country, I think global collaborations, like has been done with the US, I think will go a long way in providing access to technology over a period of time in areas such as green hydrogen, green steel, green ammonia, even carbon capture and utilization. CII, as you would know, is the secretariat for B20, and we have embedded sustainability into that work. We have two groups. One is the Task Force on Energy, Climate Change and Resource Efficiency, and the second is Action Council on Environment, Social and Governance in Business. The first task force is working towards embedding a cleaner growth path, bringing in resource efficiency, and getting businesses to adopt this in a much more accelerated fashion. And the E-Action Council on ESG is working towards accelerating adoption of ESG in businesses. And in this context, I would like to mention that one of the viewpoints that is also coming out is a lot of the standards, a lot of the rating systems that have evolved over time have all cognized for, or rather, let me put it this way, do not cognize for the context of the global south. And there is a need to work a mechanism so that the context of the global south is embedded into the systems that are being built over time. Honorable Minister, in the end, may I say that we very much appreciate your leadership and proactive efforts to drive sustainability mission in India and India's leadership in this direction. We look forward to your views and guidance in this annual session to take this agenda forward. May I, Honorable Minister, request you to kindly address us.
Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, Director General CII, Shri Sanjeev Puri ji, Vice President CII, and Chairman and Managing Director ITC Limited, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. I have been attending the annual session and summits of the Confederation of Indian Industries with consistency over the last couple of years. And Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee informed me it's my third time. And definitely over the last couple of years, I have seen the range of developmental issues that are taken up for discussions here. I must congratulate CII today for their continued focus on environmental concerns and sustainable development. In India, we would not see environment and development as two separate concepts. We see these two defining aspects of human life as interlinked. The key principle that informs India's climate policy is pursuing development goals along low carbon pathways. Climate emergencies have drawn the attention of societies across the world. India is the world's fastest growing major economy. And I can see even with this development, we also say with pride that our development journey has been mindful of environmental concerns and inclusivity. Having said that, India is also mindful that the road ahead is long. We are a nation which is home to over 17% or 1/6 of world's population. And under the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, we have a government that is committed to leaving no one behind in this development journey. When I say leave no one behind, I don't just mean the nearly 130 crore people of India, but all nations, big and small. We lead in the climate negotiation to the developing countries also. And India is presiding the G20 also, with the G20 theme of One Earth, One Family, One Future. India plans to deliver actionable policy recommendations to spur green growth. India has also insisted that his green growth must be inclusive growth because we also believe Vasudev Kutumbakam, the earth is but one family. The global goal of reaching net zero by 2030 requires enhanced descaling of emissions by the developed countries. This will provide space for countries like India to achieve the development required for its people. The development will provide the necessary defense against the impact of climate change, environmental degradation, and pollution. The IPCC AR6 report re-emphasizes that the development is our first defense against climate change. India's growth momentum, in particular, is an integral part of the global development and is essential for the meeting the world's sustainable development goals. A number of challenges confront India's development agenda, including that of climate change. Nevertheless, India is committed to combating climate change by keeping in view energy security, affordability, and accessibility as critical, inalienable priorities to ensure growth and development alongside energy transition of economy toward net zero by 2070. Environment is no one's property to destroy. It's everyone's responsibility to protect. And so even as India demands global accountability, back home, it is attending to its climate action achievement. The aggressive policies of India towards rapid development of renewable and robust framework for energy efficiency program have shown considerable impact. India has been ranked amongst top 5 countries in the world and the best among the G20 countries based on its climate change performance. Ladies and gentlemen, you are well aware that the Modi government doesn't just believe in agreements. The government today believes in taking agreement to action, and therefore, India has not just signed international treaties and agreement for only purpose of any other thing, these agreements for a sustainable world, but has backed them with the action of back home. India's contribution to global warming is minimal. Still, India is committed to combat climate change by making development choices that ensure growth and development of the economy along low carbon pathways to achieve net zero by 2070. During COP27 in Egypt's Sharm el Sheikh, India submitted its long-term low-emission development strategy to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The most significant aspect is that India is striving toward low-carbon development in accordance with its national circumstances. As a developing country with a long coastline, vulnerability of monsoon disruption, high dependence on agriculture and livelihood, and possible impact on water systems, India is likely to bear a considerable added development burden from the impact of climate change. In keeping with its responsibility as a large nation and in keeping with its tradition and culture, India is fulfilling its commitment to leading role in meeting the challenge of global warming. Friends, India's long-term low greenhouse gas emission development strategy rests on 7 key transition to low carbon development pathways. And these are first, low carbon development of electricity system consistent with development. Second, integrated, efficient, inclusive low carbon transport system. Third, adaptation in urban design, energy and material efficiency in building, and sustainable urbanization. Fourth, economy-wide decoupling of growth from emissions. Fifth, CO2 removal and other engineering solution. Sixth, enhancing forest and vegetation cover consistent with socio-economic and ecological consideration. And seventh and last is economic and financial aspects of low carbon development. Friends, you are aware that India has already initiated these transition to low carbon development pathways through policies, programs, and initiatives. That's the reason what has happened, and these things has helped in adding pace to this mission is the fact that we are making it's a pro-planet people movement. At COP26, the Honorable Prime Minister gave the world the mantra of life. Life stands for lifestyle which does not harm nature, but enrich it. The rapid pace of development and increasing disposable income have supported consumption in India. When the same thing happened in the West, they began to see individual gratification as the ultimate aim of life. The Western consumerist approach centered on individual gratification is largely responsible for global warming we are experiencing today. Pradhan Mantri Shri Narendra Modi ji clarion call for joining Mission Life was thus rightly timed. It nudged the individual to think why should our lifestyle be for environment? As more and more people are joining the mission life, it is becoming clear to them that we are one with nature. If we destroy nature, we will be destroyed too. If we protect nature, we will be protected and nourished. That's the reason, friends, the work to make mission life a truly mass movement is on. To take this work forward on June 5th, which is the World Environment Day, the focus of celebrations this year is on Mission Life. I urge industry partners to join this movement. Not only should you do this at your level, but also use your leadership to spread the message to your organizations. I request you all to join Mary Life app and start documenting how you are leading a pro-planet life as an individual and as your organization also. You keep track of your health. Mary Life app will you keep track of your health and also health of environment around you. Friends, protecting and restoring ecosystem can help us reduce the extent of climate change and cope with its impact. It is therefore important that we address issues related to climate change along with environmental action holistically. India is in its presidency of G20, for example, has embedded mitigation and adaptation deeply across priority areas of arresting land degradation, accelerating ecosystem restoration, and enriching biodiversity. The approach promotes a sustainable and climate resilient blue economy, encouraging resource efficiency and circular economy with life as a cross cutting theme. This approach helps us to mainstreaming climate change and addressing the impacts in ambitious, decisive, and action oriented manner. Ladies and gentlemen, before this, many parts of this, before this, I want to say something other. I want to say that many parts of the world are today battling the severe impacts of climate change. At such a time, no action is enough because there is at risk here is our planet, the only home we have. Despite this understanding, I have underlined that India has overachieved one of its commitments made in its first NDC submitted 2014 by already meeting 40% of its installed power capacity from non-fossil fuel-based sources. This has been achieved almost 9 years ahead of India's committed deadline. The share of solar and wind energy in India's energy mix have grown phenomenally. India announced the Panchamrit, five nectar element target in Glasgow at COP26, and in August 2022 communicated its update NDCC to UNFCCC. During 22-23, our power requirement increased by more than 10% and India is developing at faster pace. And after a COVID-19 pandemic, India's strategy to reduce its emissions is focused on rational use of fossil fuel in power sector, has already adopted use of efficient technologies that is from subcritical to supercritical and now ultra supercritical technology in order to improve efficiency, thereby reducing emissions. Through its ambitious perform, achieve, and trade scheme in energy efficiency, India has achieved reduction in CO2 emission of around 268 million tons annually. A lot of this would not have been possible without the support and involvement of our industry and business. Indian businesses are showing resilience and readiness to make the green switch, and that adds green fuel to government effort to move towards net zero. The power of public-private partnership cannot be emphasized enough in making impact. But the crisis we are facing today is extremely serious. We have a lot of achievements in climate action to perform better and dream bigger. But we do not have a single reason to take a break and celebrate how we have come because of the journey has just begun. India is marching towards the realization of its Amrit Kal. We have a country brimming with development aspirations and hope of a better tomorrow. There is no reason why these aspirations should not be met. We have a right to development, but rights cannot be separated from responsibilities. Our development must therefore be sustainable. The Honorable Prime Minister has called for Sabka Prayas in realization of Amrit Kal. Dear friends from the industry, I urge you to contribute your prayas towards sustainable development. The government remains committed to providing you with enabling environment for your efforts as India's wealth creators. I hope I have been able to invoke hope in the India story of sustainable development today. I will like to conclude by thanking CII for having me and laying the required focus on issue around environment and climate. Thanks to the audience for listening so patiently. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Honorable Minister, can we have maybe a few questions? Yeah. So I'll
Please.
pass it on to CB for the.
Thank you, Sanjeev, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for such a very comprehensive and speech which really gives a lot of agenda for an industry institution like CII to take forward. And we have always drawn inspiration from the leadership that India has shown in this entire space that you talked about, sir, on climate and sustainability. And as you said, in this year of G20, where CII is working on B20, one of the words that we use to define our ourselves as the B20 for the world is responsible. And responsible and sustainable are two words which you covered, sir, and we are really taking that forward as we go along. Sir, a few questions, as was mentioned by Mr. Sanjeev Puri. One of the things that you, under your leadership at the Environment Ministry, we are seeing a lot of work done towards digitization, faceless clearances, Parivesh. So how do you think that we can still work more in areas of ease of doing business? What are the initiatives like the CPC Green, and your thoughts on really seeing to it that we have a balance, we have ease of doing business, we are responsible, we take forward this entire industry's responsibility is not diluted, but at the same time we carry on with the how do we really benefit from those initiatives that you have taken, sir?
Thank you very much. And basically, in last 9 years, under the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, we are committed to provide more transparent system to the industry. And in my opening remarks, I already said that environment and development can go together because we are running our industry, we are doing more and more manufacturing activity, and parallelly, we are the country who is having the 75% tigers. We are conserving and preserving our wildlife, and we developed our country. We can work together. For more transparent manner, we have already started the single window integrated environment management system named Parivesh, and that was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister on 10th August 2018. But after COVID, with some suggestion from the industries and some other experts also, we are increasing the capacity of Parivesh also. Some of the few changes we created in the Parivesh, I want to tell you specifically. Number one, with the help of KYA module, project proponent can access the environmental sensitivity and planning of the project before seeking approval and making investment. That facility we are going to be provide. This will, I feel that this will provide and this will save the resources, time, and reduce the financial burden on the project proponent. The second, in the upgraded Parivesh version, project proponent will be administrative role of mapping their employee against the project proposer. This will help the project proponent in assessing the work related to clearance process. Beside this, there are some improvement also Parivesh portal. The major three I want to share with you. First, inbuilt GIS interface and clearance from would help the project proponent in validating the location of the project with respect of the KML file uploaded and data associated with respect to the location. That means state, district, village, etc. That will get auto-populated in the forum. Number second, in new Parivesh, which is upgraded with the old Parivesh, uh, we are going that development of application form management module will minimize and repetitive effort of the users, and at the same time will ensure that the single version of the truth across all applicable clearances. And third, introduction of payment gateway in Parivesh 2.0 will further facilitate the user in ease of doing business by making the online payment against the demand list. So that facility we are going to be provided in Parivesh. There is already it's in the working forum. If you are having some other suggestions and some other things, we are always welcome to work with you on the transparency matter.
Thank you, sir, because this is really helpful, and this we remember that type of intense discussion and partnership you had with the industry to take inputs and put it together in terms of using technology and digitization and making it really a strong step forward towards the ease of doing business. Sir, may I request Sanjeev Puri to also put forward some couple of questions for our honorable minister.
Thank you, CD. So, Honorable Minister, I have two questions. I could maybe ask both together and then invite you for your comments. So, you have been strongly advocating the concepts of circularity and resource efficiencies and these are very important tools for sustainability. It would be nice, and all of us are keen to hear your vision on how private sector can play a role, how we can partner with the government in really scaling this up and making tremendous impact through this very important area. The second one I wanted to really come back on was a point you already spoke about, that is life. the life mission. Now, this is a very important facet because sustainability cannot come without sustainable ways of living. And we're keen to hear your views on how we can all play a role, how businesses can partner with governments and with society to really make impact and cause this behavior change to happen.
Thank you very much. I think if we clubbed your both question, that mission life and sustainability and circularity, I think we find more pathway for development and the future of the world also. Because one of my international conference I discussed with UNEP director and I informed her about this mission life. And she replied in a very beautiful manner. She said, whatever we have taken from the earth is a clear and pure. And whatever as a human being we return to the earth, that's a garbage. And that's a reality. We can't extract more and more from the earth. So waste to wealth is a reality. And that's the reason in the recent budget also, the budget announcement is the 500 more projects for waste to wealth. Our ministry is the ministry who is regulating all these things. So we issue the EPR rules, we issue the drafting of this used oil, the rubber, the tire, and the other things also. We cannot extract it unlimited from the earth. So reuse, reproduce, and recycle is the necessity for today. And it's a new model of the business also. So our ministry is committed to make it for a different sector because circularity is not limited with one ministry, it's related with several ministries. And recently, some of the good example also, the Ministry of Road Transport uses this plastic garbage to making their roads. Ministry of Urban Development, Ministry of Rural Development also doing this type of things. And the future is about the use of this garbage of the plastics. That's a very big challenge. And the mission life is that how we change our environmental behavior. We have a civic sense, we have a moral sense, but we must have an environmental sense also. The government can do a mitigation process to meet out the climate change. The society can adopt something, then adaptation measures by the society. But for our personal behavior, we must have some environmental sense. For that purpose, Prime Minister give a mission of Mission Life, and we have started one portal also. I already mentioned in my speech also that portal is Mary Life. Please put your only one work or only one initiative or one innovation in your life, one commitment or one pledge of your life, and put on the Mary Life portal as an individual, as an organization. It will inspire to the other also, our youth also, our children also, because one thing is very much clear, there is no planet B. This is the only planet where we are living. So join with the Mary Life mission, and mission life and circularity are same part of one coin, two parts. So these are which work together, and government is very much committed to promote the circular economy, and that's the future of business also.
Thank you.
I am Arvinder Singh Brara, Chairman and Managing Director of Mantech Consultants. I must compliment the Minister on his speech. About Parivesh portal, obviously there has been improvement from the earlier version to this. But as a user, I have some suggestion that before the changes are actually incorporated in the portal, the bugs must be removed. What we are finding is that when you try to upload the file, sometimes the bugs happen. Then you have to complain to the NIC, it takes time. So my request is, in the attempt to expedite changes, this must be a cautionary note to first remove the bugs before the changes are put up. Thank you.
I will take care, and I take your suggestion in a very positive manner. And definitely in our updated version, if some more suggestion will come, we are positively and constructively include in our working and functioning also.
So, CB will ask one more
Right.
question to you.
Sure, sure. Sir, this subject of discussion today with you as the chief guest of this session is of great value to us. And CII, sir, we have, Sanjeev ji mentioned one center of excellence called the Center for Excellence on Sustainable Development that we have formed with ITC. There's one more on GBC, the Green Business Center, that we have formed also. The third we have done on water, sort of Water Institute. Fourth, we have done a center on agriculture, because there also there needs to be a lot more focus. So we'll continue this commitment of the Indian industry. We'll continue to engage the Indian industry and see how we can be, as you mentioned rightly, be more just not only work on advocacy, but see to it that we are able to practice and lead globally from the Indian industry side with the ecosystem and the policy ecosystem that the government is enabling. Sir, having said that, sir, on the climate action, sir, India has had announced the NDCs to be achieved by 2030. So also in the long-term low emission development strategy at COP27, sir, you referred to, and net zero by 2070. So when we talk about the expectations, your personal expectations from industry to achieve sectoral net zero, different pathways, what would be really your views where we can have various stakeholders, both nationally as well as international stakeholders? How do they collaborate? How do you think that there could be a more collaborative framework?
मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट एंड फॉरेस्ट का जो काम है रेगुलेटरी मैकेनिज्म का है, और मेरा ये मानना है कि भारत के उद्योगों में इतना दम है और हमारी जो इंडस्ट्री का जो लीडरशिप है उनमें इतना इनोवेटिव ताकत है कि अगर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ट्रांसपेरेंट मैकेनिज्म दें तो वो भारत के लिए बहुत कुछ अचीव कर सकते हैं और कर रहे हैं। मैं इसके लिए आपको बधाई देना चाहता हूँ। मैं दूसरा ये भी विषय कहना चाहता हूँ, आपने कहा विभिन्न क्षेत्रों के लक्ष्य क्या होने चाहिए। आज के समय में जिस दुनिया में हम हैं, बिना एनर्जी के हम नहीं रह सकते। रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी एक ऐसा क्षेत्र है, क्योंकि जितनी भी बाकी के डेवलपमेंट है वो एनर्जी बेस्ड डेवलपमेंट है। हमारा जो लो कार्बन का जो डेवलपमेंट प्लान नेट जीरो का है, उसके जो 7 सूत्र हैं वो मैंने आपको दिए हैं। और अगर ज़्यादा भारत सरकार के विषयों को अगर आप देखेंगे तो हमारा बजट का जो सप्तऋषि मॉडल है, जिसमें इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ है, फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर की मजबूती है, ग्रीन ग्रोथ है, यूथ है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, और उसके साथ-साथ गति शक्ति जैसा प्रोजेक्ट हम लोग लेकर के चल रहे हैं। तो भारत सरकार ने जो इस बजट में 9 सप्तऋषि के मॉडल दिए हैं, वो हमारे लो कार्बन जो एमिशन की जो प्रोग्रेस है, उससे मिलते हुए हैं। मुझे लगता है कि वही एक सरकार का भी विज़न है, जिस पर सब लोग चल सकते हैं, और इंडस्ट्री उस पे अच्छा काम करके भारत के अमृतकाल को बनाने में एक महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दे सकती है। ऐसी आपसे अपेक्षा भी है और आप में विश्वास भी है।
Thank you very much, sir. Over to Sanjeev ji for giving closing remarks and thanking the Honorable Minister.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much for this very incisive and comprehensive speech. You have very clearly articulated the imperatives for low carbon growth and the very important 7 pillars, 7 pathways to get there. You've also given us a lot of insight on the need for living in harmony with nature. That's indeed a very important facet, a very important insight. And throughout your speech, the action bias from your ministry, from the government, to foster in a much faster trajectory of sustainable and clean growth was evident. Honorable Minister, I would like to say to you that at CII, we are all very committed and we recognize the climate emergency, and CII is working through its various centers of excellences and committees in creating awareness and capacity building to foster inclusive and sustainable growth, and we look forward to partnering and working with your ministry in progressing this very important subject forward. I thank you, Honorable Minister, for being here with us today. We deeply appreciate your leadership and for taking your valuable time to be with us today. And to the members, may I mention that along with this annual session, there are also exhibition where we have display of some of the CII services on sustainability. I would encourage all of you to visit those stalls and benefit from the services. Thank you all for being here. And once again, thank you, Honorable Minister, for being here today. Thank you very much.
Mr. Puri, may I request you to please hand over this token of appreciation to the Honorable Minister. CB. रुक जाओ. And a special takeaway from this session. With that, we close the session, ladies and gentlemen. Can we hear it one more time for the Minister?